That's number one. You kind of reset.
Painful, tender to the touch. May also
Same shoulder length, and the other.
Hey everybody, welcome back, and good afternoon. It's
Hi.
afternoon.
It is
It's
afternoon.
morning when you're watching this, I think, but it's afternoon
It may
here.
not be. A lot of our viewers actually watch between the hours of 11 and 3.
Oh, interesting.
That's what I've seen.
Lunchtime.
I'm watching you.
Well, welcome to another episode of the Real Health Podcast with Brandi and Amir. I am Dr. Amir Rashidian, a chiropractor, and Brandi is the boss and the face and the color commentary, and she probably laughs at some of my jokes
I laugh at a few.
every once in a while. And the Real Health Podcast is where we bring you the latest news in mainstream media regarding health and wellness, disease, illness, drugs, and surgeries. And we want to summarize it for you, explain what it means and what it means to you, how to apply it to your life with the purpose of hopefully helping you to feel better, get stronger, live longer, and feel younger. So, want to jump right in?
Yeah. I mean, I would like to just take note. Do I look like I have a little bit of a tan? Because I've gotten to spend some time by the pool the last few days.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. We haven't you did get in the water.
I did. I walked in yesterday and it was like bathwater, finally.
It wasn't bad. I jumped into, yeah. Wasn't
No,
bad.
but yesterday I walked in.
Oh, yesterday.
Like, you didn't even have to there was nothing. You walked in.
It's a heat wave, though.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for.
Probably what it is.
Warm that pool up. So it's nice. I had like 15 plus children in the pool yesterday.
Yeah, it's a lot of kids.
Yeah, it was really fun. So thanks to everybody for coming out.
Is there a peeing section in the pool? Like there's a smoking section at some restaurants? Is there a section?
I hope not. I do not ask what I do not want to know. But let's just say if I get in, I waited till all the boys were out of the pool, and then there was just me and one young lady there, and we got in. It was so nice because all the boys left and it was quiet, and so we got to just enjoy a pee-free zone.
There's definitely extra testosterone there. Well, let's get started. What do you say?
Let's do it.
All right. So this is from U.S. News, and the title of the article is Moving Forward. Battling Parkinson's, he's rowing his way to Paralympic Games.
I'm a big proponent of moving forward. It's one of my favorite things.
As opposed to sideways?
Standing still.
Or going backwards?
Or going backwards. Seems pointless most of the time.
Well, this is a nice story. It says, for decades, Todd Vogt has been dedicated to the sport of rowing, believing he was in peak physical condition. Then a series of symptoms began to emerge, turning his life upside down. He said, my left arm stopped swinging and I felt incredibly fatigued. He's 49 years old. Eventually, a tremor developed in my hand, and I slowly began to realize something was wrong. That was in 2018. Since then, he has navigated life with Parkinson's disease, managing his symptoms and maintaining his rowing career. This summer, he will compete in the Paralympic Games in Paris.
But, here's what I find is funny, and I want to point this out because we just talked about this a few episodes ago, that when symptoms onset, it's like our warning sign in a car, right? And so I find it so fascinating that his left arm stopped swinging, he felt fatigued, and eventually the tremor developed, and then he slowly began to realize something was wrong. I would be a little freaked out if all of a sudden I noticed something massive, like my arm was no longer doing what it normally did, right? But you go, and he's even an athlete.
Yeah.
So that just goes to show you somebody who's already pretty in tune with their body still missed some of the early signs. It's a little scary. Don't miss the signs, people. It's important.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Parkinson's disease affects about 1.5 million people in the United States, with symptoms that include tremor, muscle stiffness, slow movement, and problems with coordination and balance. Yeah. These symptoms typically worsen over time. In Vogt's case, he faces challenges such as fatigue, weakness, and involuntary tremor in his left hand and foot. Despite these obstacles, he believes his rigorous exercise routine has played a crucial role in managing the disease. And that's another good lesson, is you no matter what's going on, there's some kind of exercise you can still do.
Oh, yes. And movement is life. Like we tell our patients that all the time. You have to be moving. Like
Yep.
it is so, if you do nothing else, like that is one of the most important things that you can do. It feeds the brain with all of those messages. It keeps your joints mobile. Like it keeps muscle tone. Like movement is life, 100%. So get to moving.
My dad in his 80s used to always say, whatever body part you don't use, you'll stop being able to use.
That would be truth.
Of course, he was a little mischievous about his body parts.
We are pretty sure we know what he may have been referring to, but it does, that it rings true for all body parts. We'll let you just use your imagination. We'll keep it PG today.
Vogt's introduction to rowing came during his freshman year at the University of Buffalo in 1992. His passion for the sport was immediate, leading him to row competitively throughout college and beyond. After college, he transitioned to coaching, a role that kept him deeply connected to rowing. Initially, he feared his rowing career was over. This is when his symptoms started. However, his knowledge of Paralympic rowing reignited his determination. By 2019, after rigorous training, he earned a place on the U.S. Paralympic team. Notably, Vogt stands out among his Paralympic teammates due to his age. While most of his teammates are in their early to mid-20s, he is preparing to turn 50.
That's okay. We do know that if you do it right, you can, as you age, you can still do quite well. We have somebody who's reversing their age as we speak. The one sitting next to me is me. So.
Well, Mike Tyson's going to fight, and he's in his 50s.
I would be scared to get in the ring with Mike Tyson, even if he was 75. I'm just telling you.
Apparently, he's more than double the age of his opponent.
I don't doubt that.
Yeah.
I would still be scared. And that kid in the ring should still be scared. I'd be wearing earmuffs.
So it's his daily exercise.
Sorry.
His daily exercise routine includes rowing, weight training, and cycling, which appear to have slowed the progression of his disease. Can I say that again?
Yes.
It has slowed the progression of his disease. What has? Exercise. Use your body. This aligns with recent research suggesting that regular exercise can improve clinical outcomes of Parkinson's disease and every other disease known to man or unknown. Dr. Lauren Talman said this: exercise is a tool that may be able to slow or stop the progression of Parkinson's disease. Medications can only manage symptoms, but exercise offers additional benefits.
Well, it reminds me, I was just talking, I have a reflexologist that I started going to. She does great work. Thank you so much. And her and I were talking about how I had a frozen shoulder for a year. You remember?
Of course.
And I did we were adjusting, we were doing laser, I was doing massage and stretching and like everything that you could think of, right? And then we were on vacation. It was September, like 2 years ago. And I was still so frustrated that my body wasn't working the way I wanted it and needed it to. And I had been out of my workouts. And you said to me, come on, let's just go lift. Like, let's go lift. It was at that point that I started lifting with the frozen shoulder. I did not have full range of motion. I couldn't come up more than this. I definitely could not come back and rotate. And we started lifting, and I started lifting again with you, and my shoulder healed. Like it was a year of intense therapy. It wasn't until I started lifting again. And I'm not saying I could have lifted at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Right. So I took time to let it heal and do all the things. But then at some point you have to put it back under stress, right? In order for that change to take place.
The body adapts under stress.
Oh
Without
my gosh.
stress, there's no adaptation.
It was
Adaptation
huge.
is required for survival.
Yeah.
That's a fact of life.
Yes.
If you cannot adapt, you're not going to survive.
Correct.
And so also lifting increases certain hormones. Growth hormone goes up, testosterone goes up. There's anabolic activities that occur in the body after lifting that help heal things.
Right.
That's why, like, if someone just completely lost all function in one arm, I say lift with the other arm, and this arm will start to get better.
Right.
It's called a neurologic crossover. There's a 30% crossover where if you only train this arm, this one gets stronger by 30% of that one.
So in case you guys did not catch that, let's rewind that 1 second. So what he said was, if you can't lift on one arm or one extremity, then lift the other, do more with the other extremity, because you're still going to get a 30% neurologic crossover. That is huge. That's
And
huge.
it's a fact. People who train only legs, their arms get bigger, even though they don't train their arms. Now, people only train arms, their legs don't get bigger, but that's different.
That's interesting.
But still, but there's still a hormonal chemical effect in the body that affects that, and you can see it in athletes. Like, for example, someone who does shot put, they don't have one giant shoulder, one skinny
Right.
shoulder,
Right.
because there's a crossover. They only throw with this arm,
Right.
but the other one gets bigger too. Tennis players don't have one big forearm and one skinny forearm.
Right.
They're not lopsided. So, and most sports are one-sided.
Not a one-handed Popeye, right?
That's right. According to neurologist and movement disorder specialist Dr. Rachel Dullan, who is also senior vice president of medical communications at the Michael J. Fox Foundation, exercise impacts brain health in several crucial ways. Exercise causes the brain to produce growth factors, sometimes called brain fertilizer,
Ooh, that sounds nice.
which help create. I released some brain fertilizer today in the gym.
Same.
You did? Yeah, you left before I got there. All right, very cool. Which help create new brain cells and strengthen connections between them. It also improves blood flow and reduces inflammation. Dolan explained. These changes can help rewire the brain, creating new pathways to improve movement and potentially slow disease progression. Despite the benefits, experts say many Parkinson's patients remain unaware or skeptical of the impact of exercise on their condition. Very sad. It's because no one's telling them.
Right.
Because doctors don't read these articles. You know what doctors read? Drug research.
Yeah.
Not even that. You know what doctors really read? Drug ads.
Yes. Well, let's invite some doctors to listen to this.
Please invite your doctor to listen to our podcast. Honestly, I mean, that study was done where they actually gave medical doctors, and don't quote me on this because I don't remember the article or where it was published, but they gave them a journal like the New England Journal of Medicine. They said, read this. And they had a camera that would watch their eyes to see what part of the magazine they look at the most. And they would flip through the articles and stop on the drug ads.
Interesting.
And that's what they would do. And then you look at so every doctor, so is chiropractors too, we have to maintain our license through continuing education. So I'm required to do 24 hours, classroom hours of education per year to stay licensed as a chiropractor. Medical doctors have the same thing. And guess who sponsors those continuing education classes and seminars?
I probably only need one guess. How many do you guys need?
That's right. Drug companies.
Right.
That's it. So what's their incentive? To teach the doctors about drugs. So which drugs? The ones they produce. Why? Because it puts money in their pocket.
Correct.
And in fact, there's a seat on the board of every drug company for presidents of medical schools. Did you know this?
No, I did not.
And the average medical school president makes $350,000 to $370,000 per year by sitting on these boards.
That's a nice penny.
Additional money. Guess what? It's about 1 to 2 hours of a meeting every quarter. So 4 times a year, they sit in a meeting for 1 or 2 hours. They just sit in it, and they make $350,000.
They probably would not invite me to sit on that board because I probably
You
would
wouldn't
not
just
sit
sit
there
there.
quietly. But I challenge you. I would come and sit on your board.
Yeah. And all of you will start seeing a chiropractor after that.
It's the best thing for you.
I certainly agree. Even small amounts of regular physical activity can make a significant difference. And previous studies have suggested that physical activity can even serve as a protective factor. We know that diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's start decades before symptoms appear. Exercise can be a proactive measure, improving brain health long before a diagnosis. It's never too early or too late to start. So, our friend Vogt plans to retire from competitive rowing after the summer games, turning 50 on the day of his final race.
That's awesome.
Post-retirement, Vogt says he hopes to stay active through coaching, writing, or motivational speaking.
Awesome.
Well, there you go.
Reminds me of the movie Boys on the Boat. That was a book we read.
Yeah.
Fantastic book. The movie was pretty decent.
Not nearly as good as the book, but
missed a lot of
yeah. Definitely. The book is by Dan Brown.
Is it?
Yeah, there's two, so maybe Daniel Brown. There's two Dan Brown authors.
It's not the one you guys are thinking
One
of.
did the Da Vinci Code.
Right, not him.
Not that one. There's another one, Dan Brown, who wrote Boys in the Boat. He's an amazing author. Amazing. When you read the book, you literally feel like you're watching the movie.
Yeah.
Very descriptive, very emotional, tear-jerking. Amazing. The story also reminded me of the girl who was rowing. She was a college student, had a stroke. Do you remember? And no one knew because they said she's too young to have a stroke.
Huh.
And they were in some European country on a team.
Yeah, it's vague, but yes.
Team, and that was probably a few months ago on our podcast, and they took her to hospital, and because she was so young, they never tested to see if she was having a stroke. But she was recovering. She was getting back into rowing. 2 years later, she was rowing competitively again. So anyways, this next article, this is the one that Brandi said she was going to freak out about on the last podcast. So this is probably the reason you tuned in today, to see Brandi freak out. So USA Today, title of the article, says, why the U.S. is behind on sunscreen. Skin cancer is the most common cancer in America. 1 in 5 people will develop it by age 70. Though treatment success rates are excellent, every hour at least 2 Americans die of skin cancer. The disease costs the health care system $8.9 billion with a B a year, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And unlike many other cancers, most forms of skin cancer can largely be prevented. But the FDA, our friends, the FDA, we love those guys.
Love them.
The FDA has not yet approved chemical filters that are used in countries such as Japan, South Korea, and France. In particular, bimotrizinol is a bedrock ingredient in nearly all European and Asian sunscreens. Although American sunscreens labeled broad spectrum should in theory block the UVA light that penetrates more deeply and causes up to 90% of skin aging, some studies have shown they fail to meet the European Union's higher standards. It looks like a number of these newer chemicals have a better safety profile in addition to better UVA protection, said David Andrews, Deputy Director of Environmental Working Group. We like the EWG.
I like David.
EWG.org, please support them. We have asked the FDA to consider allowing market access. The FDA is hamstrung by a 1938 law that requires sunscreens to be tested on animals and classified as drugs rather than as cosmetics, as they are in much of the world. So the rest of the world categorizes them as cosmetics. In the U.S., we say they're a drug. So Americans are not likely to get better sunscreens this summer or even next.
Probably even more than that, people. I mean, what's really sad is that in 2021, the FDA actually looked at 16 of the major ingredients that are in our over-the-counter sunscreens, right? Out of those 16, are you guys ready for this? They deemed 2 of them as generally recognized as safe and effective. Of the 16, only 2 were recognized as generally safe and probably effective, right? I have a really big issue with this. Now, let me just say those other 14 ingredients have not been banned. There are 2 ingredients that were banned
Which
in
means
2021.
they're not safe and less effective.
But we are not going to go through the hassle of banning them. We did ban 2 of them in 2021, oxybenzone and octinoxate. I probably didn't get that 100%. And then chemical benzene in sunscreen sprays is also considered to be not safe. So although those two ingredients have been banned, we really don't, the FDA isn't like forcing anyone's hand, which is like really sad. So we have two that shouldn't be there. We have two that are generally recognized as safe, and the other like 12 really then they're there, but they probably shouldn't be. So I don't know what the FDA is doing. I don't know why we're leaning into this 1938 law and refusing to do what's safe for our humans in the US. I just do not understand. And then we talk about this being such a costly thing, the skin cancer. First of all, how do we know that the skin cancer is not partially being caused by the sunscreens? Because these chemicals, the two that were banned and the other ones that are not considered to be safe and effective, they are carcinogenic and endocrine system disruptors. And when we're talking about endocrine system disruptors, it's changing how our hormones are working in our system.
The last thing you want to mess with is your hormones.
And then because that's also leading to reproductive issues, right? So why on God's green earth do we have such a high amount of infertility in our country? Could one thing be possibly allowing chemicals into these sunscreens and then telling everybody, putting the fear factor in them that the sun is the thing causing skin cancer, when in fact, we not only allow all of these carcinogenic things that are in the sunscreens they're telling us to purchase. Oh my goodness, this is the kind of stuff that drives me nuts. It makes no sense. I mean, does it make sense to you? If that makes sense to you, put it in the comments, because I would like to know, educate me if I'm wrong. That makes no sense.
Now,
but come with a good argument.
There are studies that show that countries where they get less sun, like up north, the Scandinavian countries, they have shorter days, especially in the winter, very short days. There's more cases of melanoma there than there are on the equator, where they have longer days and more sun. So you go, okay, maybe it's genetic, whatever, but you
has to be
can't,
turned on.
Numbers don't lie. And then Dr. Joe Marcola, and we're a fan of his, big time, even though he's been canceled multiple times, unfortunately. Yeah, he wrote a book called Dark Deception that talks about exactly what you said, which is synthetic sunscreens cause more skin cancer than the sun does.
Yeah.
It's a crime.
Now we're not saying, by the same token, do not go out in the sun and get sunburned and don't put anything on. And if you're a redhead, well, there are good sunscreens on the market. So you need to look for, and I will tell you, go to ewg.org. They have already done all the footwork. You don't even have to pay them to get this information. Like, this is they are supported and sponsored by individual funding and whatnot. They are not owned by any company that has a product that they want them to promote. They are legitimately going through and going, these are the chemicals in this product. These are not safe, so we do not recommend it. Here, if you want to get a list of all of the sunscreens that are chemically safe for your body, here you go. It's on a silver platter. All you literally have to do is go to their website, ewg.org. Go in. I'm not going to go through all the ones that are safe, but there are plenty that are on the market that are okay. They also have so much information when it comes to the different ingredients, whether or not they're endocrine system disruptors, whether or not it's going to have a risk for reproductive organs, whether all of that is there. So just do your due diligence. Just because something says organic does not mean that it's safe. Do your legwork. It is 100% worth it. It is something I did about 15 years ago. I went through and literally looked at everything we were putting on our bodies. What were our cleaning solutions? our soaps, our shampoos. Like, your skin is your largest organ. So what you put onto your skin is in your bloodstream. It's in your body.
That's another thing I think people don't understand. It's similar to sticking it in your mouth or inhaling it. Putting it on your skin is the same as eating it. So
Right.
yeah, I don't think, oh, it's only on my skin, it's not gonna hurt me or get into my blood. It does.
Right. And I just, we know that we can't trust the FDA or any other, group like that to tell us really what's safe, or to do the hard thing, which is to ban things and then actually make sure that their regulations are being adhered to. They're not going to do that. They haven't done it. We cannot expect them to do it. The only way that you can make sure you're safe is by doing your own research. So please go and do it. Just go to ewg.org. They have tons of studies. They have tons of information that you guys can go on, and you can look and see. Grab your sunscreen out, get it out, look at those ingredients, look at what they have on there, and what risk factors you're creating for your family. It's okay to be wrong right now. Like, it's okay to have done it and to change.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to keep doing what you were doing. You now have new information, so do something different. Let that be one of the 1% that you take off of your plate of toxins. It does make a difference.
So it says, complicating matters, a heavy dose of misinformation has permeated the sunscreen debate. Some people question the safety of sunscreens sold in the United States, which they deride as chemical sunscreens. These opponents prefer physical or mineral sunscreens such as zinc oxide, even though all sunscreen ingredients are chemical. Well, everything is chemical. Chemistry. I mean, everything is chemistry. Right. So I don't understand that statement.
They're trying to confuse you. That's what
right,
it is.
but the physical means it's something that physically covers your skin and blocks the sun, versus something that
you can't see.
I'm not sure exactly, but they do mention zinc oxide. Such concerns were partly fed by the FDA itself after it published a study that said some sunscreen ingredients had been found in trace amounts in human bloodstream. There you go. Nadim Shah, president of Alpha Research and Development, which imports chemicals used in cosmetics, is who found this. And that's what he said. That's why we have extreme groups and people who aren't well informed thinking that something penetrating the skin is the end of the world.
Okay, it is if it's going to kill you.
That's right. Anything you put on your skin or eat
already.
is absorbed, he says, which, yes, exactly.
So then why would he make that prior statement?
Money. Adamson, the Texas dermatologist, said some sunscreen ingredients have been used for 30 years without any population-level evidence
we aren't testing it.
They have harmed anyone. Yeah, but I mean, aren't rates of disease in every category increasing?
Going up. Well, rates of infertility are up. Rates of heart disease are up. Rates of cancer are up.
All hormonal issues.
Come on, people.
The issue for me isn't the safety of the sunscreens we have, he said. It's that some of the chemical sunscreens aren't as broad spectrum as they could be, meaning they do not block UVA as well. This could be alleviated by the FDA allowing new ingredients. So
the issue for them isn't safety. He literally said it, and then they brush it under the carpet.
And, there's a fear about additional animal testing. I don't know why the law says you have to test on animals, but...
Yeah, I love animals, but I do not know why we are so much more okay testing this on humans than we are in animals. I don't think we should test it on them either, but, why are we okay testing it on us?
Yep. So this substance, bimotrizinol, that's in Europe, could secure FDA approval by the end of 2025. If it does, they say bimotrizinol would be the most vetted, safest sunscreen ingredient on the market.
And it's made from bedrock, that's what it said, right? I think that's what they said earlier. You read it's made from bedrock.
Oh, okay.
Because that's what's used in the European nations.
Right.
So I have less issue with something like that.
Moving on. All right. NBC News. California bill that aimed to combat tween skin care overuse fails to move forward. And you remember we did a study a while back on how
we did an
teens
article.
were buying this anti-aging
Yes.
creams that was causing a lot of stuff.
9-year-olds and 13-year-olds are worried about their wrinkles.
Yeah, oh my
I
gosh.
just started worrying about it. Like, I'm just now going, ooh, really?
I
I didn't think I worried about it at 12.
I celebrate our wrinkles.
Yeah, I don't mind them.
I like them. I don't mind wrinkles one bit. It doesn't bother. I think they're attractive. Do you know? I'll say this. Nothing's more beautiful than a smile.
Yeah.
And nothing is more attractive than confidence.
Yeah.
Done. You want to be beautiful, smile.
Yeah.
You want to be attractive, be confident.
Yeah, 100%.
Done. It's not the stuff you put on your skin. It's not what you wear. Wear something that makes you feel confident.
Yeah.
If wearing a nice watch and wearing nice shoes and carrying a nice purse makes you feel confident,
Go for
it's
it.
worth it. I say do it, right? Not because you want to show anybody else what you have, but it's because it makes you confident. You being confident makes the world a better place.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line. Anyways, and these kids, you got to stop using these anti-aging creams. Everybody should stop using them, but whatever. A bill in California that aimed to ban the sale of anti-aging skin products to kids under 13. They're not even saying 18. They're saying under 13. You shouldn't use it unless you're 45. They should ban card use. Like you're under 45, you can't use this. Failed to advance in the state assembly on Thursday after it was brought forward at an appropriations committee meeting. What's an appropriations committee? We got committees for everything these days.
There's committees for everything.
Over the past year, the internet has been ridden with discourse over Sephora kids. Many online have posted viral accounts of young children overrunning stores like Sephora, leaving messes, and even fighting with adult shoppers over the last stock of trendy skin serums and lip oils. Kids who still have half a mouthful of baby teeth have grown huge social media followings, sharing videos of their makeup or skincare solutions and shopping sprees. Experts have warned that some skincare products popularized on social media can irritate young skin. 7 dermatologists told NBC News in February that for months, preteens have been showing up at their offices in droves with red, dry, bumpy, and itchy rashes after having used skincare products they don't need. And that's the one we reported on.
Yeah.
The bill, which passed the Environmental Safety and Toxic Materials Committee last month, would have banned kids under 13 from buying over-the-counter anti-aging products containing vitamin A or its derivatives such as retinoids and retinol, or alpha hydroxy acids such as glycolic acid, ascorbic acid, and citric acid. Those ingredients, if you see it in a product, don't buy it. If the bill had passed, sellers would have had to take any of several reasonable, in quotes, steps to enforce the age limit, including placing prominent notices next to the products in stores or online that say they are not intended for anyone under 13, requiring purchasers to confirm their ages at checkout and prohibiting the use of prepaid credit cards for online purchases. So like 13-year-olds don't have driver's licenses. So how do they prove their age? Bring their passport?
Right.
They don't even have passports. Most of them, how many Americans actually have a passport?
Right.
Birth certificate.
Well, if they at least set it at 16, somebody would have a license by that time.
Yeah, why
in
don't they
most
do that?
cases.
Why don't they do that? Say 60. If you have a driver's license, you can't buy this stuff.
I mean,
Why does it have to be so difficult?
It's just they're too worried about having to deal with compliance issues. Like, it's one of those things where we always talk about hard, easy, and easy, hard, right?
Yeah.
So the FDA and other, groups aren't going to, they're going to look and see if it seems so insurmountable, if they're going to have to bring in more people to deal with the compliance, and man, what kind of kickback are they going to get from people, from some of the company, they don't want to deal with that. So they're going to go easy now, which is, we're not going to make those changes. It's just not practical. So they're going to allow us to keep, our kids are being poisoned. They're
all about
just
money. Why don't they find the parents? It'll give them some money.
Well, the parents are the ones they're not going to
That's
do
the
that.
thing, is where are the kids getting their money? Somebody's giving it to them. 9-year-old's not working.
I know our 10-year-old would have to say, "Hey, can you drive me to Sephora
Yeah,
to get XYZ?" And we would be like, "No."
exactly.
So,
Let's go buy some Pokemon cards.
yeah,
At least that doesn't make you sick.
right.
It's a waste of money, but it might make you sick. All right, you want to do this one? Short article. 1 in 8 older Americans are stricken with traumatic head injury. It is a short article, but we got a lot to say about this. So let's see how far we get.
Okay.
About 1 in 8 U.S. seniors will be treated for a traumatic brain injury, typically during a fall. Medicare data shows that about 13% of seniors suffered a severe concussion during an average follow-up period of 18 years, researchers reported. Although these injuries can be treated, they increase the risk of serious conditions like dementia, Parkinson's disease, seizures, heart disease, depression, and anxiety. So head trauma can cause Parkinson's, dementia, seizures, heart disease, depression, and anxiety. For the study, researchers tracked about 9,200 Medicare enrollees with an average age of 75. Women, white people, the healthier and the well-off appear at higher risk of concussion, according to the data, a finding that runs counter to prior research. So women who are white and healthy and have more money are more likely to get head trauma at 75. For example, about 64% of people who had a traumatic brain injury were female, even though women represented 58% of the total group studied. So there were, 64% of the people. So almost all the women, I guess. Likewise, about 84% of people in the total group were white, but whites represented 89% of concussions. So 84% were white, but 89% had concussions. 89% of the whites. About 31% of those with traumatic brain injury were in the top 25% of wealth, while 22% were in the lowest quarter, researchers said. Seniors with concussion also were less likely to have lung disease or to struggle with activities of daily living like bathing, walking, and getting out of bed. They also were less likely to have dementia. So what they're saying is, and I think I'll just read it because it says, it's possible that our findings reflect that adults who are healthier, wealthier, and more active are more able or likely to engage in activities that carry risk of traumatic brain injury. And this was said by the lead researcher, Erica Kornblith, an assistant professor of psychiatry with the University of California, San Francisco. She said, while most TBIs in older people occur from falls at ground level, if you are in a wheelchair or bedbound, you don't have as many opportunities for traumatic injuries. It's also possible that participants with cognitive impairment are more limited in their activity and have less opportunity to fall. However, the researchers noted that their findings might only reflect cases in which patients were diagnosed with a concussion and received care. A 2007 study found that 42% of people didn't seek medical attention after receiving a traumatic brain injury. 42% of people who have head trauma don't report to the doctor. We know that older adults who experience falls, the largest segment of Americans with TBI, as well as lower resourced adults, including those subjected to racial and ethnic microaggressions in a medical setting, are less likely to seek care, Kornblith said in a university news release. It's possible that our data did not capture the true burden of TBI in this population. And I agree with that. I don't think the numbers are accurate for that very reason. Most people don't report it. I remember that's pretty much how my dad passed away.
Right.
He hit his head. He was knocked unconscious. They didn't find him for a while. When they found him, he was still unconscious. He had aspirated something while unconscious, but no one checked his lungs. So he developed a pneumonia while they were checking what's wrong with his brain. Then they found out he had sepsis, and then they found out he had pneumonia. Yeah. And he never woke up. So this is serious. A lot of people pass away after they hit their head. You know, one of the things I always recommend to all our people and you guys watching or listening to us is whenever you're brushing your teeth, stand on one leg.
That's
So
good.
you're gonna brush
You
your
mentioned that
teeth
before, yeah.
twice a day. Yeah. So the first time you stand on the right leg, second time you stand on the left leg, vice versa, whatever. But practice being able to stand on one leg. That improves your balance.
Yep.
And then if you can do it with the eyes closed and not holding on to something, you're pretty good at balance. So you're much less likely to fall. And you're gonna brush your teeth anyways. You might as well be training your body while you do it.
And if you're struggling with balance and coordination issues, there is help. So there's a lot of things you can do. Of course, looking at it neurologically and seeing a chiropractor who actually knows how to balance the nervous system to help with that coordination, that, first and foremost. Also, we refer our patients who deal with balance issues to some trainers that we have here in Frederick, and they do a fantastic job over there at One Life. Daniel and Eric and Randy, they take care of our patients, helping them perform exercises that help to increase their balance, and they're tracking it and they're measuring that. And man, I mean, your aunt who lives with us, she would fall all the time. She fell, what, 9 years ago, 8 years ago, and broke her back. And her doctor could not believe how stable and how she's able to walk and move and work. And I mean, she's very, very active, goes up and down steps with, I won't say with no issues. She definitely has, some gait issues, but she does not fall like she used to. But we make sure twice a week she's working out, and once a week she gets adjusted. It makes a difference.
Yeah. She hasn't fallen. She
Yeah.
hasn't fallen recently.
Yeah.
She used to fall every time we would travel somewhere.
Yes.
She would fall.
Oh my gosh.
We couldn't let her pull a suitcase with wheels behind her because she would fall.
That's what I think of, actually. I think at that time she was pulling that suitcase at the airport and just
Or when
fell
she
over.
was holding the dog
the
leash.
dog leash and broke her arm.
Broke her
from
arm falling, and she hasn't fallen after that.
Yeah, she's
Pretty
done
amazing.
a really, really good job.
Yeah, because of exercise. So thanks to the trainers over there at the EP.
Yeah.
Explosive Performance. Thank you
right.
guys. Well, anyways, we're definitely out of time. Please check out our other videos. We did a good one with a wellness coach, Timothy Ford. I think that was really good. It was insightful. Watch that interview. It's not part of the podcast, but it was an interview that we did. Can I tell them what's coming down?
I was going, yeah, go ahead. That's
Okay,
exciting.
So we have a very special guest that may be joining us. Not may, he is going to be joining us on the podcast, helping us to go over these for at least one episode.
Maybe
and
two.
He's extremely brilliant in the field of nutrition and supplementation, and we can't wait to pick his brain and bring his valuable knowledge to you. So we'll tell you who that is and when as we get closer to it, but expect to hear about it within the next couple weeks.
Yeah, and really pay attention to, can we say who it is, Dr. Right? So let me tell you, he is such an amazing expert on protomorphogens. So if you are somebody that has a disease process that you've struggled with, if you have autoimmune that you've struggled with, this is a podcast or two that you will want to tune into, because he's going to be talking a little bit about protomorphogens, and they can really help some of those tough disease processes to kind of get those in line nutritionally. So I would say tune in, because that's one you will not want to miss.
As always, we love and appreciate you very much. Thank you for all your support, and we'll be back next week.
See you next time.